Well, greetings and welcome back to OG Blade Reviews. That's me. And why is this guy still talking about 2024? It's 2025. It's almost February of 2025. Well, because he's been busy. And I really wanted to get this one in because I already did budget folding knives, higher end folding knives, fixed blade knives for 2024, my favorites. Not the best, not your best, my favorites, okay? So why not do autos as well? Autos may be a verboten territory for you guys because you're not in an area where you can carry autos. Hey, I can't either, but I still collect them. I can use them in my own yard, in my own house, and maybe once in a while they'll wander beyond those boundaries. Main thing is, if they are not legal in your area, you can still use them in some respect, or simply perhaps collect them, unless you can't even get them shipped to your state. And I won't go on and on. You have your ways, I have my ways, and there you go. So these are the 5 that I particularly liked that most of them, if not all of them, were introduced in 2025. If they were, I'm sorry, in 2024. Bleh, see? Yeah, 2024, they were introduced. Or at the very least, I bought them in 2024. None of these were gifted to me. I don't generally get gifted automatic knives. They're a little higher price point, and that's just the way it is. But if you can actually buy them at White Mountain Knives. They do have an automatic knife division, so something to check out. Otherwise, a number of these came from NC Blade. Some of them came from Southern Grind, I believe is what they're calling themselves. And some came from Knife Center. Blade HQ is another source. So a lot of sources out there for auto knives and for the latest and the greatest. Let's do the reveal. And there we are. I'm going to start in order the way I had them listed here on my fancy little inventory diagram. And here is an interesting auto by Heretic. It is the Mini Parah, not the manual Parah. They make a manual and they make that in 2 sizes, I believe. The full size is like a 4-inch. But they're able to turn this one out for under 200. That's pretty notable. In a FRN, sort of a molded handle that is ventilated, for lack of a better word, on the back. Has a clip that will go on either side, fairly unusual for an auto. And it kind of hooks in once you take the blank out over here. It's pretty grippy. It is darn fast. Oh, you see it bounce like that, right? And if you hold the button in, sometimes, it'll quiver a little bit more. They did it in MagnaCut for under 200 in a side opening auto. Some of these are out the front. Some of these are side opening. Did it in MagnaCut, and as I understand it, their MagnaCut is well into the threshold for where it should be. I think like at least a 62. If you know better, you can correct me. It got lots of built-in jimping molded into the handle. It's very satisfyingly textured there. And as is the jimping on the back of the blade. And I think we're going to take a wander out even a little further here. Kind of close. Give me some room to show you the whole knife and to move it around a little bit. So we certainly have a tanto here. We certainly have a harpoon tanto. So you can put your thumb all the way out there, even if you got long thumbs. And it is a Americanized style tanto with the chisel grind. Almost looks like an arrowhead at the end there because of that harpoon. A little asymmetrical grind going on there, but it is symmetrical on both sides. They did a great job with their CNC work. We've got a lanyard hole here. And by the way, I'm not going to measure them up. I may measure one or two just to give you a perspective. And once they're open, I'm going to leave them open and on the table for your viewing pleasure. But individual reviews exist on each of these on the channel. Just look them up and you can see at least like a 15-minute review on each of these knives. Again, the action is very fast, right in there with the fastest Protex or Microtex. See that thing bounce? But when it's locked up, it is just solid as a rock. And so next up, we've got two Microtex on the table. We've got two Heretics on the table. Going to get to the, well, let's get to the next Heretic and then we can discuss Microtex. This one is pretty amazing. When I saw this at NC Blade, I kind of knew that I had to have it. What can I tell you? It is the Heretic Wraith V4. 3.75-inch blade in Magna Cut. By the way, 3.5-inch blade on this one. I'm just reading off of my chart here. Heretic Wraith V4. And you can see that has got some snap as well. It is a Bowie clip style blade with a bit of a hook to it. Point on line with the center. Aluminum handle. And a nice traction, grippy stuff in the center there. Similar to what you see on the Microtex. And yes, the company is owned by Tony Marfione Jr. So seeing a few things here and there that remind you of Microtech, like the clip, would make sense. And once again, here they gave us an ambidextrous clip. You left-handers are lucking out. I started life as a left-hander, but things happened to the left hand. I learned to use the right. Things happened to the right hand. I'm back to the left. Oh, what can I tell you, man? What can I tell you? Yeah, life just wears and tears on the body. Lanyard hole there on this guy, too. Plenty of jimping. I got a backspacer here that is steel. Okay. Wasn't sure of that. Like I said, 3.75-inch blade. We've got, I'm not sure you'd call it a fuller, but it's a pocket, milled out pocket here. It also would make you want to think that you could flick it out with your finger, but no. It's got a spring. We're going to let the spring do its thing. And some of these, like I've got a Hogue, Ritter Hogue RSK Auto, designed by Doug Ritter, and kind of does the same thing. It's got so much power on the way out that sometimes it sort of rocks back and forth. This is, if you could feel the spring tension here, you wouldn't believe it. So when that comes out, sometimes she's just a little wobbly and then it locks. And I think that's due to the amount of spring pressure. And they do break in over time, is what I've also been told. So the steel backspacer with kind of a bridging here that's interesting. Nice big full-size button that will not deploy accidentally. Doesn't have a safety. You got to dig the fingertip in there in order to get it to fire. And real comfortable, slim handle. And the blade, like I say, the blade is just amazing looking. And what is the blade from? It is from Magna Cut. Let's make sure of that. Yep, Magna Cut. So we got Magna Cut and Magna Cut. As I say, thin, ergonomic, comfortable handle. Plenty of jimping here, both on the aluminum frame as well as on the blade. It's a solid one. It should be a workhorse for you if you use it for EDC, everyday carry. Going on to two Microtechs, and then we're going to touch onto a ProTech, the only ProTech on the table, but there was at least one other that could have been an honorable mention, but you'll see my honorable mention number 6 in a moment. It's an entirely different company. Here is the very famous LUDT. What's interesting is it's got a light enough blade that it doesn't give you that shock, but it is very snappy. It is the LUDT Gen 3. And I love the Gen 3. A lot of people got attached to the Gen 1s and Gen 2s. I did have a long time ago a Gen 1, but couldn't tell you what happened to it. I'm sure I sold it or gifted it or what have you. So here you have your traction. Here you have M390, MK390, yeah, M390 MK. That is the special brew for Microtech. Pretty much it's M390, but I guess it's got some extra carbides in there. It's got a beautiful crown spine. Haven't seen that yet on any of these knives that are on the table, that is. And great jimping in here. We've got a backspacer that I believe is titanium, yes. So the backspacer is titanium, not aluminum. The scales are aluminum. It's got not a deep carry clip, and it is not transferable. So in keeping with the original design, the clip is only right-hand tip up carry. Solidly made clip. I mean, you can tell by the quality of hardware they use to attach it here. There's your takedown screws. I've actually taken down some out-the-side knives, and you got to be very patient and make sure you keep a little tray around to keep all the parts in. Have not taken this guy apart. Everything about it is beautiful. There's no stick on the button. The button is slightly rounded over. Jimping everywhere, jimping on the titanium backspacer. We've got some bridge work going in here too, where you can see through where that narrows down. Jimping, jimping, and jimping, and jimping. And it is a light knife. Blade on this guy is 3.5, 3.5 inches. You wouldn't have thought it, but yeah, it's right in there with the Heretic Parah Mini. If you haven't gotten one of these and you're into auto knives, definitely pick one up. It is a classic, even in its slightly newer form with a wider blade, raised up slightly, a little different treatment on the handle and what have you. Don't have a Gen 1 or 2 in front of me to compare, but there are some notable changes with the Gen 3 LUDT. LUDT was originally designed for the underwater demolition team, the SEALs, I believe, and that's as much as I know. I guess you could certainly open that knife underwater. And with the right materials, you give it a rinse every now and then. Make sure you keep her lubed up. You should be good to go. Okay. Let's jump to the ProTech. Got to. What is this ProTech? This ProTech is the Response 4 4-inch blade in Magna Cut. Comes with a safety. Talk about that in a minute. And it also sends tremors through the hand when you open it. Full 4-inch blade. Aside from the one that's going to be the out the front of the crowd, the only 4-inch blade for out the side on the table. And thus far, we've had 3 out the side knives, and we're going to have 1 out the front knife that I'm going to show you. Maybe 2, along with the honorable mention. This does not lock when it's open, no need really. A well-recessed button, you can see, well below the surface there in that little milled out spot. We have kind of what they call, I think, a dragon scale milling on the side. Got a persuader there. This is a steel backspacer with aluminum handles. Yep, steel backspacer. So you got a nice persuader on the end there. Could act as a glass breaker. I think it's defined enough, certainly hard enough. You can choke up. You got a great choil there. So you are losing a little bit of blade, maybe an inch of cutting edge. Cutting edge, yeah. 3.5 inches. So really, you're only losing a 1/2 inch on the choil. That's not bad because you're getting into some of the handle here for part of that choil, the front part of the handle. Really a beautiful knife and a great clip on it. Only right side tip-up carry, unfortunately, but everything is recessed. The clip is milled into the handle. The screws are flat-headed. Jimping down here, kind of a knobby jimping, and some on the back spacer as well. Feels so comfortable in the hand. And look, I got it like 1.25 inches left over. Beautiful drop point, spear point sort of blade. High grind in Magna Cut, if I didn't already mention that. Comes through blazingly sharp. That is the ProTech Response 4-inch blade. Last but not least, and certainly not least, is the Troodon Gen 3. Combat Troodon Gen 3, I believe. Is it a Gen 3? They designate it that way. Yeah, Combat Troodon Gen 3. The Cypher would have been this. The Cypher version 2 would have been definitely one to be out on the table here as well, but wanted to limit it to 5, and I happen to like this Troodon just a bit better. They give you the dual fuel, 2 springs. They give you the crud cutter, newly introduced, and it is just the right amount of force required to actuate this knife. Here we have the really nicely done trademark claw, eagle claw, I believe it is. Got a diminutive glass breaker, ceramic ball on the back, I believe it's ceramic. And you got a nice lanyard hole there. That also acts as the takedown. Notice no body screws. Oh, no screws on that side. I was going to say no body screws. No, I'm wrong. But it does have an interesting takedown in that once you remove that, and I haven't done it yet, you slide this back and it lifts right off. But you got to take these out too. See, I'm a dummy about it because I haven't done it yet, right? Once I do it, I can talk about it. But it's the action on this that's just incredible. Even if you got a weak right thumb like me, you can still do it. This one's semi-serrated, partially serrated. It is in M390 MK, just like the LUDT. And it is a full 4-inch blade as well. Let's make sure I'm honest on that. Actually, like 4 1/8. It is a big one. And let's put her over here. Can we put her over here? Can we back out? Yeah, we can. There we go. Yeah, we got room. In fact, we might even have room down here. What the hey? That makes room for our honorable mention. Okay, so the honorable mention comes from MaxAce. It's honorable mention because they turned this knife out for about $108. It was preceded by another MaxAce. So this is the Neptune, and they even got another one called the Uranus, I think. But this was preceded by what? It was preceded by the Archer, which was like an $88 knife. So here we have a slight improvement on the Archer. Love the Tonto. This is an SLD Magic, which is a Sanmai steel. How many out the front Sanmais have you seen? Beautiful satin finish on the flat and bead blast on the grinds. Nicely done. Look at that. And we've got the traction tape, rubberized stuff on the inside. All this work for $108. Deep carry clip. A lot of people don't like the clip. It is not a weak clip, but it's just a wide clip that tends to match the width of the insets here. And it is not switchable. I'll tell you why. Because it is there's a milled out portion on the handle, and there is this. They give you like a not really a wrench, but kind of a thin rod that goes through the hole, and you unscrew this glass breaker and you can take the clip off. But I do not see a way to get that over to the left side of the knife. Nonetheless, shouldn't really matter because your actuator is on the top of the knife, not on the side. So, well, no, what am I talking about, right? Yeah, you're already saying that. Yeah, you'd need to put it upside down in your left pocket in order for that to work. So yeah, right hand only, guys. Sorry about my confusion there. It's a strong spring, so it's nowhere near as easy in and out as the Microtech. But it might break in, and I think they're using 2 springs on this one as well. If you know, let me know. But that is my honorable mention number 6, the Max Ace Neptune. Well, there you have it. My favorite auto picks for 2024, not 2025, even though we're almost done with January here, 2025. Had to make sure that I got this video out before the end of January anyway. Hope you enjoyed it. Right now, you're going to see my logo over here. Click on that. You can subscribe. Don't forget to give this vid a like. Love you guys. Be well.